you guys? Happy
You
Thursday. Can I talk about why we don't do this later in the day? Because we get more tired, and the more tired we get, the more slap happy we get, and the more we fight over who gets the arm of this chair. So, what's up? All right, guys, so we're going to talk about holding you to your ask. Who's going to hold you to your ask, what your ask is, and exactly what...
Ask. Ask with a K.
Oh boy. All right, you guys, holding you to your ask. And what is your ask and why is it so important? So we're going to build. Maybe we'll just talk. We'll just sit here and talk with you guys. Let's laugh a little bit. The world needs some more smiles.
How's your Thursday? How's it Wednesday? How's your Thursday?
All right, guys. So first of all, Brandon, what is your ask?
So yesterday we went over kind of the groundwork of what we start off with any of our clientele that come into us, right? Like first off, identifying what is it that you want. Nate, always appreciate you, buddy. Where you're currently at, right? Why is it so vital for you? What are the obstacles that are likely going to come up in the way? And what was always the fourth one?
And what needs to shift in your life so that you can get to that place.
And so essentially that, as we discover that, you guys, that's your ask. Okay, so when you discover first and foremost what is it that you want, that version of you, because in all reality, what we always talk about is the person you have to become in order to accomplish the vision that you're pulling yourself towards. That's the vision that we as coaches are going to hold you to. All right, so you're asking us to hold you to that person in the future, right? Like it's not, and I think oftentimes it's like, well, what if I'm not there? Obviously, you're not there yet, but it's also identifying you as like, okay, if that's the caliber of person or if that's the person you want to be, what are the intentions? What are the daily actions? What are the things that we're going to do to align with that? And what are we going to do along the way, right?
I'm going to change that. You are that person. You're just not showing up in alignment with that person.
Yes.
If you can have the vision of the highest version of you, and if you desire it, you deserve it. So if you have that vision of that person, you're already that person. You've just put on masks and protectors, and you've got all the stuff that's happened in your life that's dampened that light and dampened that truth of yourself. So you're already that person. You're just needing to shed some of those layers and step up into that highest version of yourself. It's not that you have to become that person, but you've got to shift some things of how you're showing up in the world so that you can actually become that person. Because we're going to say this all the time, you guys, all of the answers have always been inside of you. All of your magic, all of your power, it's always been inside of you. We've just put some layers on top of it, and we just need to uncover it so we can actually let ourselves be that version of ourselves.
No, that's a very good point. No, my point there was, I think
meant.
when people hear that is like, well, that there's going to be an aspect of perfection around that, right? Like if I need to be this person, all of a sudden everything has to align or everything has to be perfect. All my I's have to be dotted, all my T's have to be crossed every single day. And that's not reality, right? Like there's a difference between having a high standard and having perfectionism. Like that's not real, right? And so what we do as coaches is as we go through this process and identify those things, we set up a system of micro promises, micro commitments to allow you to experience success, take away the comparison, take away the expectations, because we already know the map in which that we're and the destination we're wanting to get to. And then we backtrack from there. So oftentimes it's like, well, can't I just do this with isn't that the same thing as doing this with a friend or an accountability buddy or whatever? And not to say that those things aren't valuable. Like, do we have clientele and everything else that have seen massive improvements with that? Yes. But we've also seen is oftentimes when you have a friend or an accountability partner doing things with you, right? Like we'll use the gym or a fitness goal or a training for a run or whatever it may be as an example, right? Oftentimes that friend is in the same boat you are in. Oftentimes you're friends with that person because you guys have a similar lifestyle and similar ideology and similar patterns that you do every single day, right? Like it's that old saying of you are the four people that you are surround yourself with, right? And so what we see oftentimes is for most of us is we start down a road with a new plan, new whatever, it's exciting or whatever, and then we see progress, and then all of a sudden the inevitable happens of the obstacle, like we talked about, of identifying your patterns and the obstacles that usually come up, and that obstacle comes up, and because you and your friend typically have the same pattern, you look to each other and all of a sudden it becomes that negotiation of like, well, we've done really good. If like if you slip up today, like I'll do it with you, and then like we'll get back on track tomorrow, right? I think Courtney has a better explanation of this and a better example. But how many times have you done that with a friend, a coworker, a family member, whatever in your lifetime, right? Does that resonate with you?
Well, and the problem is like you're hoping that someone's going to hold you to a level at which they're not already at yet, right? And so like kind of the example is like if you're both stuck in the mud and you're trying to get out of the mud and one of you is like, I'm not motivated today, and they pull you back into the mud, right? So what we want to talk about is like, as a coach, our goal and what we do with every single one of our clients, the first thing we do is I want you to write a letter from who you are 6 months from now, or depending on the length of whatever program we're working with them on. I want you to write a letter from yourself, from you 6 months in the future, when you've done all the things that you said you wanted to do and you feel the way you want to feel, and I want you to write it back to yourself now, right? So that gives us who they're becoming, right? And then that's the only version of them we see. We don't see the version that has protectors. We don't see the version that's running into roadblocks. We don't see the version that's doubting themselves. We don't see the version that still has some worthiness wounds. We don't see any of that, right? We only see the best version of themselves, the version that's free, the version that has energy, the version that's fulfilled. That's all we see, right? So our job as coaches is to hold space for our clients, for you, to grow into that person, to shed those layers, to do it in a safe container, right? So our goal is to hold space, and our goal is also remind you when those roadblocks show up, because they will, because the universe is like, okay, you said you wanted this. Now I'm gonna throw some stuff at you because I want to see if you're actually committed, right? And like, if you hit one roadblock and you fall off the road and you're in the ditch and you're upside down in the river, you probably didn't want it that much, right? And so the best example I think we've ever heard is like, if you walked out to your car and you had one flat tire, what would the logical thing that you would do be? Probably
fix the tire.
Fix the tire, right? But instead, what we see when people are on this road is they have that happen and they walk out to their car and they're like, Psh, I got a flat tire. I'm going to go flatten. I'm going to slash all of the other four and just say, F it, never drive again. Pretty logical, right? Like, I know all of you watching right now are like, I would definitely do that to my car.
But like, I can't relate at all to that. Right. I've never done that when it's come to any sort of diet that I've been on.
But think about your dreams. You're like, I'm on this dream. I've got this path. I'm ready to go for it. And then all of a sudden, COVID happens. Riots happen. Life happens, right? Like, stuff is going to happen. And we're just like, oh, maybe that dream really wasn't for me. Maybe that calling really wasn't for me. Maybe that purpose really wasn't for me. I'm just going to stay here and I'm going to stay safe, right? Like, it sounds silly when we talk about that you would slash the tires to your car, but every single day, every single year, we see our clients have these grand aspirations and understand that there's more to life, there's more fulfillment, there's more energy, there's more freedom. But when life happens, it's like, oh, maybe it's not for me, right? And like, I'm going to say that.
Or maybe I'll just wait. Right. I'll wait until this passes.
Right.
Yeah. Like that's. I'll wait until I'm ready. Right. Like I won't come to the gym until I'm in shape. I can't tell you. Like that's thousands of times we've talked to people that like I need to get in shape before I go to the gym. Right. Like think about that. Like. It just doesn't make any sense, but we do that, right? Because yet again, that's a protector. That certain things coming up because, it's yours. It's not necessarily a judgment or your fault. It's just those things are coming up because those are natural protectors. Because we're rooted in coming from an intellectual side and not allowing ourselves to really see what we're capable of doing.
Yeah. So this is totally off, and I'm gonna give you guys some truth bombs. If you desire it, you deserve it. You are never gonna be ready, ever. And if you are, then you waited too long. And life and growth and what you want is outside of your comfort zone. And you're going to fight like hell to stay in your comfort zone because that's what we do, right? And so like, those are the truths that you need to understand. And so when you come to something that you're like, yeah, I feel a little resistance, that feels a little bit scary, those are the things you have to lead into. But this is exactly why in life, you need coaches. We have coaches. We've hired coaches. Like, we are coaches because we believe in coaching, not because we're just like, oh, we know everything. Like, it's not that at all. We've gotten to where we've gotten to because we've stepped out of our comfort zone. We've had someone help us. We've had someone that's walked our path, that's been on a similar path, that's showed us the way, that's asked us questions, that's opened doors, right? And like, you need to get outside of your comfort zone, but you also need to know that you're in a safe enough container with people and a coach that's going to hold space for you so that you can feel safe to be vulnerable, to be authentic, to actually let yourself grow into those things. And I'll be honest with you guys, I did that this weekend. I went to a training in Ohio with 17 people I had never met really no idea what was going to happen in a time where it's a little bit sketchy to travel, and we're downtown Columbus, and like, I'm not gonna lie, it was definitely out of sight of my comfort zone. And I left on Sunday so happy, so excited that I stepped into that space, that, you know, I invested in our business, I invested in us so that I could get coached from somebody that's doing what I want to do, right? And like, I promise you guys, if you continue to just get a little bit farther outside of your comfort zone, get a little bit farther outside of your comfort zone, continue to work towards that ask, all of a sudden all the other stuff falls away, right? You don't have to push it away, it just falls away, and it starts to become easy, right? But it's that first step of like, well, what is my ask? What is my big goal that I want to go for? Why do I want to get there? And who's going to help me get to that point? And then you just get to have that group. We do a lot of group coaching, right? So you have that group, you have that coach that holds space for you, that allows you to grow, that allows you to be safe outside of your comfort zone and show up as a completely different person in the next 6 months. And that's really the biggest thing that we've seen with our clients, is they have these results that they never thought were possible. They're like, I didn't think I could feel freedom. I didn't think I could have fulfillment. I didn't think that I could have this kind of energy and I could understand my energy in this short a time, right? Like, a lot of our programs are 6 months, but within 2 weeks, it's like, holy cow, I cannot believe all of the things that have come through simply because I stepped into this container and I understood that I wanted to grow, and I allowed myself to step into what I'm truly meant to have.
Well, other times I think is allowing yourself to really allow yourself. What would your life look like and feel like if you had somebody that would hold you to that version, right? Like, I can't tell you how many times I've had conversations with our clients of like, I don't have anyone in my life that talks to me like this. I don't have anyone in my life that asks me these type of questions. I don't have anyone that sees me as that person other than myself every now and then, until self-doubt starts coming in, right? Like, what would your life look like? What would your life feel like? What could you accomplish of having somebody that sees you as that version of yourself that you want to aspire to create in your life and holds you to it, right? Like,
lovingly.
Lovingly, right? Like, and understanding that they're by your side, right? Like, everyone has their coaching method and everything else, but how we operate is we work side by side. We're not dictators. We're not gurus. We're not everything, right? Like we've said, you hold all the answers. We're there just to wipe the fog or clean your windshield or whatever other analogy you want to look at it as, of helping you through this process so you can become the best version of yourself. You can relieve yourself from the restriction and all the self-doubt and bad talk and all the other crap that we layer on ourselves as human beings, right? Like, you're human. We're not perfect. This is part of the human experience and part of the human journey. Oftentimes we just need somebody else to see us as that version, just as we see ourselves, and allow us to help us experience that along the way.
Right. Come change your tire when it falls off, right? Like, that's, I mean, as simple as that is. Yeah. And it's that point where it's like, everything is easier when you have someone that can support you and that sees you as the best version of yourself, right? And so if you don't have that in your life, and that's something that you feel called, that you're like, I think I need this. I'm ready to grow. I'm ready to have, I asked a question today, kind of the 3 main things that we help our clients with is having more fulfillment, having more impact, right? Having more freedom, whether it's money freedom, time freedom, freedom from dieting and physical constraints, having more energy and understanding your energy. And we talk about energy a lot, but energy is everything and everything is energy. And so I asked a question, what do you need more of? And it was a little bit of everything. And a lot of people were like, you need all of those, right? So if you feel like you want more of that in your life, we're launching our Shift Beta program. So it's going to be a group program. We've got 22 total spots. We've got a handful left. It's a very very certain group of people. So if you are interested, we'd love to jump on the phone with you, see if we're a good fit for you, see if we can help you get to where you want to go, and see if you're a good fit for the group, because it is a program where we want everyone to grow together. So if that calls to you, if that speaks to you, if you're like, you know what, I want more of that in my life, just reach out. Let's jump on the phone, see if one of those spots would be a good fit for you. We start, mid-July. So, anything else? Mm-hmm. All right. We love you guys. We appreciate you guys. Hopefully that shed some light on all of the things, and you got a little laugh in the beginning. So have an awesome Thursday, you guys, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Bye.